We everywhere?
Everywhere.
Are we on Mo's Facebook?
We accept Mo's Facebook. I need her password.
Okay. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to Titan Tuesday. No, Titan Tuesday together today. We got that one. I am just getting this rocking and rolling. So today, A1C, we're going to talk about carbohydrates in the body and how they change from when you're a young pup as you age and become more sensitive to them. So I don't know if you guys have seen that kind of the research that they talk about that with carbohydrates and how your body. It was cool. I think I was talking to Andrew Herberman, and he sent me over a discussion, if I remember correctly, and it was talking about how when you're a pup, and you could have ice cream, and you'd be more hyper than anything else, and then as you age and so on, so forth, you get to my generation, and you kind of eat a bowl of ice cream and you just want to pass out. So it's an interesting thing. And I was having a great talk with Mark Bell the other day, and the talk was about pushing a lot of this stuff off as long as you can, the way the body uses foods and stuff. Because you guys know Mark is a huge protein guy when it comes to a carnivore, takes in some fat, not extreme like you would think. I don't know what the carnivores normally do, but he's not extreme on that. And then very low carbohydrates, if any. And he's in great shape, and he's also out there and he's working and working and working. What I would like to figure out is what markers Titan Medical uses to find out how your body utilizes carbohydrates. Because the more and more I think about how I trained when I was a youngster and how I ate when I was a youngster, it was, for me, I was always around 300, 350 grams of protein. Never even calculated out fat in the sense of trying to have some. If there was fat in the carbohydrates I was eating or the protein I was taking in, that's where I was going to get my fats, which isn't much, What do we got? We got some good questions here today, but these are some of the stuff I'd like to go over today with Titan Medical, Big Johnny, and kind of go over the whole aspect of carbohydrates and how they check to make sure that you're still at that position where you can utilize carbohydrates, or you got to take in consideration on your nutrition. If you see anything, Jeff, just jump in on us. I'm bringing in this. There's the man. Johnny, say
What's
something.
up?
There
How
we
you guys
go.
doing?
2 seconds. Let me get this audio.
Yeah.
How's that? Is that better? Gotcha. All right, stud.
What's up, man?
How you doing, kid?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm good. What do you want to do about the echo?
They gotta turn the TV down.
Turn our TV down?
Is that all right?
Yeah. What's this one?
Or maybe
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Say again. You want to go headset? What do you think?
No, let me know. Is that good, or is it still echoing?
good.
I think it's good.
Awesome. All right, awesome.
All right. So, first of all, just a little catch up. Welcome back.
Thank you. Glad to be back. Definitely glad to be back.
Tell us about the trip, my man.
So yeah, so basically like last Wednesday we took off and we took off for Sharice's birthday. We'd go somewhere every year for her birthday. And we go and we have like a relaxing time basically. We kind of disconnect, just have fun together or whatever. We have a couple of people that usually go with us out on these trips and stuff like that. And last year we decided we were going to start bringing Peter along. So we went to Turks and Caicos and went to this phenomenal place called Armaniana, and the Arman is the name of the hotels worldwide. And when I'm talking about like just secluded, ridiculously secluded, and just, I mean, I can't say one thing that was negative about the trip, period. Flew over in a private jet, because at that point, like, we was looking at tickets, and the tickets were really costly. I think it was like $18,000 for 3 tickets. So I'm like, we're just gonna go for a private jet, So we do the private jet, me, Sharice, and Peter, which is really cool. You got over there, you don't have to go through customs, you don't have no problems, you don't have to wait in airports, you don't got to be by people you don't want to be by, and you get there a hell of a lot quicker. It's like a 4 to 5 hour journey is what it would take us leaving from Tampa to go to Miami, and then from Miami to there. Only took us an hour and 48 minutes from Tampa. And you show up at 8:45, you get out of your car, you take your bags to the plane, you get on the plane, you're out of there. You know what I'm saying? So it's just really nice in that aspect. It's very convenient. It's not, it's more expensive, obviously, and something that a lot of people can't do. But if you can and you got to do it, then you guys understand what I'm talking about. But getting there, dude, that place was just, like I said, phenomenal. We had our own villa. And when I thought of a villa, I'm thinking like, you have this big house, like one big like house, right, and you have like multiple rooms in the villa, and that's it. When you get in there, I thought that was the check-in place, where you check in usually, and it's really big and nice and all that. And I walked in like, no, this is your villa. And like the villa had 6 buildings in it. And I'm not talking about little small buildings, I'm talking like huge buildings. So I was like, wow, this is crazy. So it was great, like 2 full-time chefs, from the hotel, and then, 2 servers, butlers, and that was it, man. You want something, if they're not there, you text them, they bring it right to you. That was it. So it was just really nice. Got to decompress a little bit. Obviously got some sun, spent some great time with the family. Sharice got to disconnect a little bit. We had our friend Allie out there. It was really nice. And our brother Harshal and Carla were in spirit, and they usually come out with us, but they weren't there this time. But it was good, man. It was so cool. The water is so crystal clear there. The beaches are beautiful. As far as like the sand beaches, like the sand is just really nice. And I've been to all kinds of islands, and some are stony and rocky and all that, and have green seaweed all over the beaches. This was not like that. There's own private beach, so there's nobody by you either as well, whichever way you looked. It was just you and your party, which was like I said, really nice. They had a gym on property, which we worked out at a couple times. They had their own movie theater there, which nobody went to. We took over the movie theater and got to watch our own movies in there. So that was really cool. Made movie night out there. We roasted and s'mores and did the bonfire. Like pretty much did it all. I'm pissed I forgot my drone. I bring all my cameras out there. I like to play around, get a lot of cool content, get a lot of cool memories. And usually I have my drone with me too. And that was one thing I was kicking myself in the butt for not bringing. But next time I will definitely bring it for sure, 100%.
I saw the trip and I followed closely, and it's just amazing. And then I got the walkthrough of the compound. Let's call it just that.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Amazing way to do it, man. It's memories that you continue to make and continue to do. So, man, I'm glad. I mean, she must have loved that birthday.
She did. She usually has a really good time on her birthdays. We usually do really cool things like that. But, this one, like I said, this is one that definitely puts that mark a little bit higher from what we've done before. So it's just, you just keep setting that bar and that standard higher and higher, man. It's ridiculous. Like, definitely blessed, to be able to do some of these different things, and a lot of hard work goes into being able to do these things, and I don't think people get that all the time, at that point, they just see the result and the glitz and glamour and all the nice stuff. But it's like, you have no idea how much hard work, or especially what work's getting done right now. It's just crazy. Cause even out there, I was working.
Yeah. You don't get a vacation like that unless you just crushed it.
Right.
Crushed it in life, man. So yes. I'm happy that you did. And I think, those are the kind of trips that you just remember forever. I still remember this incredible trip we had to Italy, and I will forever remember it. So this is like, makes me think this would be, remember when we went? So
yes, definitely.
Beautiful one. And you did train.
Yes.
And again, for you people at home, just so you know, when he goes and when John cheats, John doesn't cheat. John has the same, the steak. He
Yeah.
has fruit this time I saw. He
Yeah.
had,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's all healthy, healthy. There's nothing. And something you told me was there was no fast food restaurants or Americanized restaurants, fast food there.
None. It's one of the only islands I've ever been to where there's not. Because most islands usually have a KFC, a McDonald's, or something of that nature. But usually it's KFC or McDonald's. And there was nothing. There's nothing on the island. They don't let it happen. They don't want it. They don't want infiltration of that in their island, which is really cool. And like I said, I liked all my meals home cooked, right? Organically made if possible, as much as possible. So, that's why, having what we did was just awesome. Like I had my boiled eggs every day. I mean, my cheat for the vacation was French toast. I had 3 little pieces of French toast every morning.
Oh,
And,
you crazy man.
I know, right? I went nuts. And then I had I had some home cut fries, that it would do at lunchtime and maybe dinner here or there. But, that was really maybe some home baked cookies they made, but nothing crazy, and it's just really nuts. And it's funny because if you go and you eat anywhere outside the United States, anywhere, Mexico, Europe, anything, and I'm talking about going to McDonald's, the ingredient lists are different for each one of their products compared to the United States, compared to these places. Even in, let's say, Mexico and let's say London, right? Let's say England. So at that point, they don't allow high fructose corn syrup. Do you know how many products have high fructose corn syrup in the United States? I mean, I couldn't even put a number on it. There's that many. Like anything you looked at, from Oreos to juice drinks to pop to anything across the board. Anything that's sweet, they usually put that in. So that's one thing. And then we talk about these different, different things that are in Gatorade, Doritos, and stuff like that. Their colorings is like red 40, and there's another one, but those are not allowed in these different countries too as well. So it's just really crazy. Even if you look at chips, like Doritos, compared from there to here, you look at the ingredient list, it's totally different. It's just really nuts how that works. So I think the United States needs to look into up in our nutrition factor. I mean, we take it for granted. We don't really have anything set in place that I think is effective and on point, right? Even our BMI scale is messed up. I think if you gotten your BMI, have you gotten your BMI before?
Yeah.
So what do they tell you? Were you overweight or obese?
1 second.
Yeah.
1 second. You're gonna actually freak out on this one.
They're gonna tell you you're obese. Because when we talk about BMI, so you guys know what we're talking about, body mass index. The body mass index is the gold standard, per se, of what has came out from our government and the beings above us, right, that are making these decisions. And body mass index really depends on your height and weight.
Well, that is true. All right.
Right?
You have the basic, well, not basic, but you have the Harvard nutritional book.
Yes, I like that. I like that.
And,
I like that.
In the Harvard book, and this has been since 2001,
Yeah.
you have Mike O'Hearn.
Oh my God, they have you in there?
So this is the nutrition book that every kid, especially at Ivy League schools, will go through and
Very
have to
cool.
understand this and test off of this.
Very,
You're
very
truly
cool.
is the only individual that is put in the book, and it is off of the hypothetical of explaining how is my BMI what it is,
Yep.
how am I that size,
Yep.
and not fat.
Yep.
So it was I think a crazy cool thing that I'm in the all college books talking about the phenomenon of
Yeah.
and it's been there. But going back to something twofold. One is, BMI for you athletes. Get rid of it.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about BMI like that.
Right. But the second thing is I've seen it a lot on social media now. The discussion that you're talking about, what America will allow in foods
Yes.
compared to what the rest of the world does.
Yes.
And I'm very much, I was raised in a martial arts type of upbringing. And
Yep.
I know a bit about Asia and how they eat and how they do what they did with martial arts and with how they would eat. And it's amazing because of the fact that it's a very high rice
Yeah, it's carb driven.
and stuff, and very few overweight,
Right.
very few compared to America. And the way that they eat, again, is just clean eating. Not clean eating. It is like how we would normally eat.
Yeah.
I hate saying clean eating because eating a meal to anybody and everybody, it seems as though nowadays, if it's not a pizza or a hamburger at a fast food restaurant,
Yeah.
and you say, "Oh, to dinner I'm having a salmon and sweet potatoes." Oh, you're on a diet. What are you talking about?
Yeah. No, I have good nutritional principles, and this fits in where I need.
That's a meal. It's like, how does that? So
Yeah.
going back to, you are impressive, even to you mentally. The French toast is a cheat.
Of course. You know it is. I mean, anybody says a French toast, I can't say, yeah, French toast can be very beneficial for me, right? No, come on. I'm eating carbs. I got sugar in there. You know, now I had some egg in there. I guess I could be like, oh, the glass half full, half empty, I guess. But as far as that goes, like I know, like that's not clean eating per se, or that's not a good nutritional diet to have every single day. Like it would be like me just eating donuts every day. Like if I eat one donut every day, it probably wouldn't kill me.
Probably wouldn't kill you. And then there's people that I think, like Mona, that has her carbohydrates for breakfast. It's either a bagel or it is something like that.
Yeah.
And again, she walks around what she does.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the interesting thing is that with markers on the blood test, you can find out through the A1C
Yes.
on what's going on here. And then there's other factors that you can also, because you've talked about this and really taught me about this, is that things go together. You can't just go off the one marker. Hey,
Right.
your creatines are high. Well, why?
Right.
Well,
Right.
it's muscle breakdown. You're taking high protein or something.
Right.
There's other factors to that. So is there, with the A1C, so people can understand this a little bit better when they do their blood work, what is the ultimate goal that you would want to see there? And then what other factors come into play?
Sure.
If that makes sense.
Sure. So hemoglobin A1C, you're going to want to be underneath like a 5.6. Okay. 5.6 is the borderline. 5.7, you're pre-diabetic. 5.7 to 6.0, you're pre-diabetic. Anything over 6.0, and it used to be 5.7 to 6.0 used to be type 2 diabetic. They moved the scale back. So now it's over 6.0. Now you're type 2 diabetic. So you obviously want to be underneath that 5.6 marker, or at 5.6 at the very, very minimum, right? And this will mean that, listen, you're not pre-diabetic. You might need to change some things, right? And this is going to give you that warning signal, like, hey, listen, you're right there. You better make some changes in the diet. And people will do that, right, to a certain extent, or some people won't. If they keep continuing on that path and they keep eating a whole bunch of sugary things, drinking a whole bunch of sugary pop, and just does not stop, they will keep rising. And what happens is all right, you're like, all right, fine. There's more sugar in my bloodstream. Who cares? What is that going to do to me? Right? Because I feel fine right now. My blood sugar's a little high. I feel fine. I'm performing great. Like I look great. Ha ha ha. And then you're like, all right, well, this is something that takes a good amount of time to really start affecting, but it's going to really start affecting a lot of different ways. One, we talk about cellular deterioration. The more glucose, sugar that you have in your bloodstream, the more cellular deterioration happens. And if you got to, get a visual what cellular deterioration is, this is a breakdown of your body of cells, right? So this is bad, obviously, for you. If you don't think this is bad, you need to take a look at it. The second thing is you might be stacking on more weight, because as we get these glucose levels higher and numbers higher, that's when insulin sensitivity and all these things start. The pancreas doesn't work correctly. So when you start introducing these sugars and stuff like that, insulin is not getting pushed out like it should be. And at that point, you're getting affected like that. And then when you become insulin resistant, then you're really fighting an uphill battle. And now you're not going to be losing the weight like you should be. And all these other things could be happening to you. So it really is, getting a hold of your nutritional, and I'm not going to say diet, your nutritional plan of what you want to do and get that really situated. And what does that mean? That means that, listen, if you're drinking a whole bunch of sugary pop, you better cut it out. Any sugar you're drinking or eating, you better start looking at. And if you don't, you're going to be on a path of destruction for your body. And it might not happen in a week, a month, a year, but over time, you'll start breaking down. Then you're going to have to start taking more medications to balance this too as well. The flip side to this, if you start losing weight, this can help reverse insulin resistance. It can help lower blood sugar levels too. But usually when people are losing weight, they're going on a calorie deficit and they're not eating as much sugar. So at that point, it's all about getting your nutrition on point. If you can get the nutrition on point, you can start exercising and be active, then at that point, you're going to start reversing some of these things. Today, I had to go with my dad to chemo. I go with him every Tuesday. Go in there, and they always run a blood test on him every time. See where his potassium's at, his blood cell counts are at, his kidneys are at, and all these different things. Well, my dad's lost a substantial amount of weight. He's probably lost like 20, 25 pounds. He's down to probably about 185 to 190 per day. It just really depends, water, eating, whatever it is. But one thing that has improved because he's lost this weight is his kidney functions. They have actually improved even with chemo going on.
Right.
So it's kind of crazy. When I seen that today, I was like, holy shit. Like you really don't see when your EGFR and your creatinine are real high and they stay like that for a long time, they really don't improve that much. They could stay stable, but as far as improving, like it's real hard. So at that point, when I seen that today, I was like, holy cow, like this is another thing. And this is the biggest thing when I talk about GLP-1s, like semaglutide and tirzepatide. You lose the weight, health is going to improve in other aspects and other areas. So it's the same thing with nutritional diet. You improve that, improve activity, it's going to change everything about how you're living. You improve your quality of life, your energy, your lean muscle, you're losing weight, you have more self-confidence. You're balling at that point. Like that to me is balling. Improving quality of life and having all these aspects there, that's what you want. And I talked about this earlier. I had a live right before yours, and we talked about obesity and overweight. How many people are out there obese and overweight? How many people have been obese and overweight ever since childhood? It's one thing when they grew up and they were skinny and then they got older and they started drinking, they had kids and just didn't take care of themselves. At one point, they've been the sexy little figure. But the person that hasn't been is willing to go to any extreme almost to get that weight loss. Even if they say, I'm comfortable in my skin and I'm 400 pounds, you know damn well they want to lose that weight. I don't care what they say. And when they lose the weight, and most of those people end up going on weight loss programs. I don't know if you remember, there was a little girl that was on TV. She had blonde hair. God, I forgot her name. She was a little brat. I forgot her name. But her mom was Mama June, right?
Okay.
And her mom was like huge. You should see her now. She's down to like 130 pounds. I'm like, holy, you can't
Is that who it is? Honey Boo Boo?
Honey Boo Boo. That's what it is. Good job, Jeff. I knew. See, Jeff's always there. I appreciate that. But yeah, so Honey Boo Boo, that was it. So Mama June on there was always big, overweight, all these different things. Of course, she got some money and stuff like that. She probably had some surgical treatments. She probably had some weight loss medications. But the result is she looks phenomenal. I bet her health has improved too as well. So,
will you show me a before and after?
Oh man, wait till you see. So I mean, just certain things like that. I mean, even Roseanne Barr. Remember how big Roseanne Barr used to be when she had Roseanne the show, and how she is now? I mean, it's just like holy cow, this is like night and day. Like I can't believe it. So
good for them,
huh?
Good that they've dropped the weight.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Great. And I love Roseanne. So
I mean, so it's really out there. And like if people have the choice now to take their health into their own hands. They have enough sources like Titan and other sources out there where they can really get on programs. They can have people that are supporting them and really get them to where they want to go. So, before it was like, listen, they were on watching TV all night. They're sitting in front of the TV. They got the pint of ice cream they're eating. They're watching the commercials on TV talking about the shake weight and this diet, the Hollywood diet, and all that. They're on the phone. They're ordering everything they possibly can. They get it. They try it, and it just didn't do anything for them. Now, think about all the money they wasted.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about. So I'm on my live. I was just on. We had a patient on there. Has been on tirzepatide since April 17th. He's lost 47 pounds. He started at 437. He's going to go to 300 pounds. He's already on his way, dude. I'm like, that's just amazing.
Kelly. Tell Kelly.
Look at this.
That doesn't even look like she looked like she dropped weight and got 20 years younger.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, she might have had some, some surgical treatments or Botox and stuff. I don't know. Maybe she didn't. But the weight.
She looks great.
She looks, I mean, she like I said, she looks like a different person. And this is what a lot of people can do. That was the mother.
That was the mother.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know what the daughter looks like nowadays because she was a little rotund little girl. Right. She was on her way, being overweight and stuff like that.
Footsteps.
And it was more like, I hate to use the word, but they're kind of white trashish, you know what I'm saying? As far as that goes, that's how the show was. But it was good, right? I mean, it is what it is. And like I said,
that's great for her.
See, she's overweight. She's overweight. So that's what the mom looked like. So, and that's the other thing. Then when we go into the kids, the obese and overweight kids, and now they're prescribing these GLP-1s to these kids.
Okay, so now they're going. Before we go into the medication and how we can help this, is there other things? Because again, I was reading so much, I get bombarded with all this information about A1C. When it comes to elite athletes, so I'm just going to talk for a second about elite athletes. And most of the studies that I was going off of was people that have high carbohydrates in their programs because of the fact that long distance. So most of the studies was on the what's the bike racing, the Tour de France. These kind of athletes, they do 6 hours a day of
cycling. Yeah.
And so their carbohydrate is at a ridiculous amount, and a lot of them were coming back with high A1Cs in the I guess the number was like 6 point something.
Yikes.
So 6.1, 6.2, which would trigger a doctor. But they also did tests alongside of that with the insulin sensitivity.
Mm-hmm.
And the insulin sensitivity showed that they did very little work to make it burn through. So the kidney, everything was functioning correctly. The number was high because of the fact that it's the accumulation of the diet they're doing. How do we straighten this out? How do you explain this to me?
I don't know. I mean, usually when you have a hemoglobin A1C of like a 6.2 per se or 6.3, like I said, that's diabetes type 2. I mean, when you look at the scale, that's what it shows. As far as, them burning through it, I mean, that could be a whole different story, right? I mean, they could be drinking a whole bunch of sugar and riding. I mean, they can just keep pushing it. So, I mean, as far as that goes, I really don't have an answer for it. I mean, at that point, if you're an athlete and you're burning it off, that's another thing. I mean, look at those guys.
Yeah.
They're not overweight and obese.
Right.
They're not.
Is there other factors on the blood markers that would show you, is there other aspects of what's going on in there? Or is the A1C one of those that it sits by itself and it's one of the markers you want to make sure? It's like the PSA.
Yeah. I mean, you can look at a fasting glucose if they didn't eat that day and look at that sugar level and say, listen, they're normal on this day. Maybe the accumulation of what they've been eating over the last 3 months and why it's high.
Okay.
Because that's what it is. I mean, so I mean, that's just an average. And like I said, that can change every 90 days. Right. So, if you're previous and you were at 6.2 and you're riding and you weren't drinking any sugar for the next 30 to 60 days, it might change on the next 90. So I really don't know. I mean, with cyclists.
There's interesting studies because obviously it's the accumulation again of the carbohydrates, but it's also not just the accumulation, but it's also how your body uses the carbohydrates.
Right.
And so,
I mean, you're going to burn through. I mean, especially timing. That. I mean, when they're hitting these carbs and they're hitting it probably timing. They got something that's overwatching this, guaranteed. And they're pushing through like that. So I mean, it's a long race. You got to power through. And the only thing I could say is that I've seen some of the carbohydrates guys where they've been doing this. Obviously, back in the day, you used to shoot like EPO and like all these different things, testosterone, all these different things like Lance and all them. But what I've seen is that there are a couple cyclists, and I'll have to pull their name down because your body can burn two different ways, right? Your body can burn off carbohydrates, or if you delete carbohydrates, it'll burn off fats in your body. It'll start utilizing the fats. So I've seen one cyclist do it like that. And usually, like we were talking about, cyclists are really small. There's a new cyclist that just hit the scene, and he's jacked.
Wow.
He's supposed to be a bad boy. So I don't really follow cycling, but I'm going to look into this guy because I mean he was substantially bigger than all those other racers, like substantially. Legs, the whole nine, body, arms. I mean, I was like, holy cow! I was like, this guy's a cyclist. Like, man. So I want to see what he does against those smaller guys. But yeah, I mean, they're obviously burning for that energy and the sugar. So I mean, I don't know. Carbohydrates, obviously, listen, depending on what kind of carbohydrates too we're talking about. Complex, are we talking about? Are we talking about, sugary carbohydrates? I mean, I don't know. That's the difference too. Just like I talk to guys, I'm like, hey, listen, let me chew gummy bears after the gym because it's shuttling the nutrients, the dextrose or whatever the hell it is. I'm like,
Right.
I think I'd rather have something else like some fruit or something, but
Makes sense. Yeah, it's studies. We were just talking about the equivalent of some athletes go to that. And again, I don't think there's anybody on here that's doing 6 hours of cardio every day at that intensity. So it was just a curiosity question to me with all this stuff that I'm trying to read and understand it as we continue to learn and go through this process. Is there what do we got here, Jeffrey? We got a couple on here. Yes, sir. All right. Thank you. Thank you for the donation for the puppies.
Yeah, that's awesome. One on here says, my assumption of those cyclists do not have enough muscle, some that sugar stays floating over time and accumulates, producing insulin resistance. So I guess it could, but I mean, really, muscle mass, I mean, to a certain extent, I mean, if they're having a lot of carbs, they're still going to have a lot of carbs, not sugar in their blood.
Yeah. Just so you know, James, the study was that all these guys were healthy because it showed with their other tests besides the A1C. The A1C was showing that they're all high carbohydrates. Extreme.
I would like to see their fasting glucose though, too, as well. They should have had that right along with it.
I think
like when we test something like that every time, it's in a CMP. So it's a pretty common test.
Yeah, so they were healthy. So even though the number was in a strange place, but again, we're talking about elite athletes that were eating an outrageous amount of carbohydrates that I would never need to do. So that's what it was.
Do you have any grams they were taking? Did you see on this thing?
600 a day.
Whew, that's a lot of carbs, huh?
Yeah.
What's your high day of carbs?
Me, I try on a high, again, attempt. I try to get about 600, at least 500 to 600 on a high day.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm like 3, 4.
You with those cookies?
Or French fries. No, but rice is the other carb, and then like a baked potato or something like that. But I definitely don't get in. Definitely not 500 or 600 carbs. I couldn't do it. There's no way. Unless I was eating a whole bunch of cookies. I could probably do it then.
Those cookies are so good. Is there a therapy recommendation for bad rotator?
Yes. So there is a BPC type peptide that we have. And then TB500. Obviously, these are going to be great for that. Great for the rotator. It's going to help with inflammation in the body. And if you have some tears, hopefully help heal those tears or make those tears a lot better. So that's definitely the way to go as far as any bad rotator cuff problems that you may have.
Yeah, that's a get to it right away.
Yes.
And the one thing that you were saying was it's a new BP, right?
Yeah. So basically, so BPC is a certain type of peptide, and this is that peptide. They've had to do a name switcheroo so they can get around the powers that be. So I'm fine with it. I've been taking it. Works just as good for me. Have a lot of patients on it that have been taking it. Great results. So I'm happy with it. Like I said, I try everything way before everybody else does. So at that point, if I don't think it's going to pass or it doesn't help me, it ain't going through Titan. That's for damn sure.
Most of the guys I talk to now, we're off to karate combat this week.
Oh, nice.
And just talking to the athletes, these guys are consistently doing the TB and the BP. Just they're so banged up, all
Yeah.
the kicking and smacking. So they're heavy onto that. Um,
Yeah.
so for you guys that are the weekend warriors, just know that that's what these guys are doing to try to stay healthy so they can fight.
Absolutely.
Because they're never going into a fight perfect.
Nope. Definitely not. Dodge Boss said, "Do you tan in sunbeds or spray tan? Do you believe there are benefits to sunbeds and health?"
Ooh, Johnny, I know red light therapy is extremely beneficial.
Red light therapy is for sure. Tanning in sunbeds, not so much. I tan outside, so I don't tan any sunbeds. I've been spray tanned one time in my whole life. So otherwise, I go outside and just try to get it naturally. That's what I do on vacation. I try to just stay in the sun. And when you have, I don't know, I don't know if you have this problem. Like, I mean, you're usually spray tan all perfect.
I'm
But
10
like
a week. You did once in a lifetime. I do it once a week.
dude, for me, I have to like go out there and like I'll be in the sun. And if I just stand in the sun like this, then like all this is white, all this is white. Like you can tell, like I'm still whiter here than I am here, right? So I got to hold my hands up like this. These people think I'm all weird, like I'm just standing trying to get the sunlight, but trying to get covered. But yeah, I like the natural sun. I used to go into sun tanning beds probably like 13 years ago, 14 years ago. I had a little bit of acne on the back I was breaking out from and stuff like that. So I went and tried to dry it up and stuff like that. But after that, I never went anymore because I heard of all the cancer problems with skin and all this. And I was like, I live in Florida. I was like, hey, listen, if I'm going to catch cancer, I might as well catch it from the real sun. So, as far as that goes. Spray tan, though, I mean, I know a lot of people that do it. So at that point, like, I don't think there's anything unhealthy about spray tanning or anything like that. There's no toxic chemicals or anything like that, right?
For me, when it comes to any kind of sun, I just check to make sure that your family genetics and stuff. We have can't. I'm Irish, Scottish, German, so we have skin cancer in our family. So that's one thing. I'm a vampire. I go without sun.
Yep.
My recommendation to anybody is just be careful of the sun. John's pigment in Greek is a much better.
It's a little different.
That. So
definitely know your skin type and your family history. Absolutely. I definitely agree with that for sure.
What do you got there?
Which would like your opinion on ashwagandha? So I've got my opinion on this for sure.
Yeah, you do.
For sure. So I've never used this supplement ever in my life. Never. A lot of people I know have used this supplement a lot, right? And I've never really looked into any studies of this as far as, I know they said like it raises free testosterone and such, but I never really seen any negative side effects from this drug ever. So my son comes at me like a year ago and says, hey, listen, he's already tall, all that. I want to get even taller. My buddy's taking these height gummies. I want to take these height gummies. So I'm like, all right, man. I'm like, let me look at the back of it. Let me see what's in this. So look at the back of it. There's like nothing in there. Ashwagandha was the only thing in there that I was like, I really don't know how this is going to affect you. Like all the ones, it's like vitamins, amino acids. There wasn't nothing in there that I didn't know. I was like, all right, cool. This ain't too bad for you. It might be a little healthy for you. Yeah, take it. So I started taking it and, everything was going for months and months and months. And Peter just wasn't himself. I don't know what the hell, you just feel it, like what's going on? And of course they went, oh, nothing's wrong. I'm fine. I'm like, okay, all right. So for me, luckily, I can blood test Peter and I can run any blood test I want on him. So I usually run blood tests on him. So I was like, hey, listen, you're going to come in for a blood test. I want to see where everything's at. I want to see where testosterone level's at. I want to see where estrogen's at. You being a little girl, a little bitch. I was like, let me see. So we pull the blood and I noticed one thing on there big time. I was like, his cortisol was low. And I've tested before, never came back low. And usually cortisol, like really high stress, it's going to be high.
Yeah.
So when it's really low, I start looking into it. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, if you have low cortisol, this is like you're high risk for depression, like all these different things. And I'm like, man, I wonder if this is affecting Peter. And like, it was low. I was like, all right, he's coming off the gummies. Went off the gummies, retested, like 30 to 45 days later, he's fine. Back to where it needs to be. And he's fine. He's the old Peter. So I'm like, damn, I'm like, this really was affecting him. And this is an over-counter supplement that they're advertising to kids, right? And kids are taking these. And is this causing depression in kids? Because depression's at its highest level for children, right? Highest level of suicide rates ever in children right now. So when we look at that, I'm like, man, could this be causing negative effects? And are there other over-the-counter medications that are causing negative effects to people that people don't even know because they can't run the blood test and even see? That's my thing.
So yeah, I'm with Johnny on that. It's from what I've heard, it's great. I've taken it. I got a bump of using it, um, but I haven't used it in the last 3 months. So since the April trip, so
Yeah,
you can try it and see what you're doing. But like, listen to what Johnny said that what he saw, and then
I would try it and listen. I would look at it like blood test. Say, listen, go on the supplement for 30 to 60 days. Blood test is cortisol with us. It's a $30 test. You can see, hey, listen, just raise my cortisol, lower my cortisol. You can run a free and total in there. What I would do if this were me, and I didn't own Tight Medical Center, I'd call Tighten Up and I say, listen, I want to run a free and total testosterone test and a cortisol test. I would probably run a full in depth test, but for somebody out there that might be on a budget, I'd run a free and total and I'd run a cortisol. Take the supplement for 30, 60, 90 days. At that point, run a free and total and run a cortisol again. When you look at those numbers, you can see exactly where they reflect and what has went up and what has went down. If your free testosterone went up, great. If your cortisol stayed the same and it's in balance, great. But if your cortisol went down, then you know, hey, listen, this was affecting my cortisol in a negative way. You don't want to do that. Somebody asked on here, what's better? Low or high cortisol is bad. High cortisol is bad, but low cortisol is bad too as well. That's what we're talking about. Always being in balance to where you need to be. It's not about overdoing it or going less than. It's about having that harmonic balance.
I'm keeping track on this one as well because of the fact that, uh, again, guys, this is the research man over there. I'm the guy that's just really reading and trying to understand this.
Mm-hmm.
If my tests come back continuously on the moderately on the lower side, um, I'll keep an eye on it and see what's going on. But there might be a reason that I was just a bit of a research was that reason why I can retain a lot of the muscle I have. But then Johnny's talking about the other effects, like everything that low testosterone. What does it do to you? Well, now there's so much negativity to this. So I just got to keep an eye on that for me. So that's everything that we're talking about is you can do this, and I don't know why everybody doesn't. I keep track of this for myself. I don't rely just on what the doctor says.
Right.
So is the ashwagandha working for me? Did I get stronger? Did I
Right.
notice maybe a little bit more intensity in the gym? It's Big
Mhm.
Johnny.
What's up, Titan? Oh, nephew, look at him. What's going on?
Show him the muscle. Pull the sleeve.
Let's see those guns, Titan.
Hit that arm. Hit it. Let's see it. He's pulling both out. He ain't just
Woo! Double gun salute. I like that. 2 gun, baby. Yeah.
unveiled it. Wow.
Yes.
That was easy. Jump back on that after that, kid. Take notes, James. I know you're a bright cat, and you're really trying to follow along on a lot of the blood work stuff. Find out for yourself what's going on, and then find out those signals, like Johnny was talking about.
For sure.
If you got low T, are you depressed? Are you doing all these things? And then the secondary low things, maybe that you don't feel it right now, but what's this going to do to you if you're low T in 20 years?
Right.
It stayed there the whole time. It's the same thing he said about the A1C. Okay, great. This study talks about these bikers at 6'2", points. So it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
And then the doctor says to him, "Don't worry about it because your fancy, your sensitivity and all this is great, and your body burns it off with no problem."
Mm-hmm.
well, then you're just taking his word for it that the damage is not being done when it
Right.
could be being done.
Right.
So, cholesterol in the arteries isn't that bad, but after 20 years, it sure is.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Blockage and stuff. So take in consideration what you feel today and then down the road. So that's my thought.
That's good advice for sure. It's all about being preventative, guys. And we say this over and over and over. Don't let things break down. Try to fix them before they break down or take care of them before they break down.
And
And the only way you can do that is knowing the information and knowledge about what's going on to make an educated decision about what you want to do. So it's real simple and easy as far as that goes. But you got to take the action for yourself. There's nobody's going to take the action for you unless you have a great wife or kid that's pushing you to do these things. But you should want to do them yourself. We only have one life to live. We say this all the time. And at that point, you got to take advantage of this life and utilize it and do all the possible great things you possibly can for yourself and for the world, I guess.
Back to the Ashwagandha.
Ashwagandha.
The photo, I don't know if the photo was actually you, sir, that was asking the question, but you were you're not 20, put it that way. And so maybe you're at the stage right now where you shouldn't be looking for over the counter. You should get the blood test and find out where your T's are, because if they are low, then talk to John and the team,
right,
and get on something. And that way you don't have to take the vitamins to risk that stuff. And you just make sure that you're healthy and your T level's in the right position. So again, analyze it, get the blood work, stop doing a guessing game is another one.
Yeah, it makes no sense. No sense to do that, especially when you can find out and know for sure.
Yeah.
Like, why?
We just did that to a couple mid 30-year-olds that we're talking about. That's the gentleman. Again, my eyesight's bad. You might be 21. I don't know. But I'm just saying that I'd get your blood work done, because I'm assuming that you're doing that maybe for a combination of strength and muscularity and a little something in the bedroom maybe. But Titan Medical can take care of that real easy.
Oh yeah, for sure. Easy peasy, baby. Get you dialed in and optimized.
Somebody asked about multivitamins.
Yeah. Is it okay to take iron every day?
Oh, iron.
So Centrum has like iron in it, but it's at a daily dose. You want to look at those different things, and you don't want to take a whole bunch of iron if you don't need it. If you take it in a Centrum or a daily vitamin, it's usually a daily dose, and you're not going to build up too much in the blood. But too much iron could be a negative effect, and too low of iron obviously can cause a negative effect, and you can become anemic and stuff like that. So you want to make sure you're looking good on that. Obviously, other things too, like potassium, electrolytes, these different things like that. So if you're taking supplementations from these things, you might not want to. You shouldn't have to in most cases. But if you have health issues and stuff like that, sometimes it's a supplement. So it's something to look at, because too high potassium can put you into a stroke. So if you have too high potassium, it's no good. And, I knew about electrolytes and all that, but listen, after my dad goes through it, I really researched the hell out of it, because I want to know every little thing about what's going on. So it's just something to look at. Obviously, listen, look at your blood work. And if you find things in your blood work, you can find early detections. It's simple to do.
You're as simple as that, Johnny. And Johnny just said it. You say get your blood work, because there's iron in meat. So you might be getting enough just the way you're eating and the way you're doing your stuff.
Right.
And the way to find that out is do your blood work, ask for some extra breakdowns on something like that concerns you, that you may not be taking enough. Blood work.
That's what I'm saying. Even on the full in-depth blood test, this is a common test. Iron, you'll see what it is. And then if we really find an iron problem, we have a very advanced test that we can really break down. So, we have a solution for these problems or issues, or that you want to check just to make sure, that you're okay, right? If you are, if you're taking new supplementation of anything, you want to see how it's affecting the body, whether it's affecting kidneys, it's affecting liver, absorption rates, like we talk about branched chain amino acids or any amino acids for that case, vitamins, like all these different things. We can run blood testing on to see what's going on and see if it's affecting you negatively or positively. I mean, a lot of things will affect you positively too as well.
I agree with you. Jeffrey, what do we got? A little bit more, please.
What about an ice bath? Basically, thoughts
Okay.
on ice on cold plunges right here. Well, do either of you cold plunge? Is it BS or legit? How does it impact your point?
Cold
What?
plunge.
Yeah.
Do either of you cold plunge? Is it BS or legit? How does it impact your heart? Thanks.
I don't know.
I'll be honest with you. I've cold plunged one time, and that's it. I'm more into the red light saunas, massage, things like that. I've been reading a lot of studies on cold plunges. A lot of good information on cold plunges. There are some benefits to what they're saying. I want to see these proven, more data on these things. But they say from a number of different things like improving immunity, taking away inflammation in the body, improving cognitive function, like just across the board. Like there's all these, and I don't want to call them outlandish things that they're saying this is going to do because this isn't proven. If this was a drug, I couldn't go on here and say, yeah, it's going to take away inflammation. That would be illegal. So, can it help with these things? Possibly. Proven? Don't know. I did read in one study, they said where if it depends when you take the ice plunge or cold plunge. If you take the cold plunge directly after training, which a lot of people think is really beneficial for them. I heard obviously it restricts you and it could lessen your gains per se, I guess, with the cold plunge like that. And they say if you take it like the morning and go throughout your day, then you can start your day like that. I don't know. I'm not jumping a cold plunge every morning.
Yeah.
I've taken cold showers to try it too, because that was my buddy before cold plunge was a big thing. Like, take a cold shower, like 15 minutes in the cold shower. I'm like,
15 minutes.
I'm like, dude, I was like,
dude.
there's no way I'm doing that. I like hot showers.
Was it a friend of yours? Okay, so he's just playing a joke on you, brother.
Yeah.
That was
I'm like 15 minutes. I'm like, there's no way. I wouldn't stay there for 5.
I'm gonna start doing that. Go take a 15-minute shower. You will gain a pound of muscle a month.
Yeah.
Congratulations, guys.
Oh my god, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, cold plunge they usually stay in 3 minutes, I guess, right? 1 to 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's like 3 to 5. And again, I agree with you that they talk about first thing in the morning, the stimulation to it. Do not do it after a workout.
Nope.
Again, everybody cries about inflammation. Inflammation is great.
Right.
You want inflammation after that workout. You want that body to do that. And you want your body to fix it itself. And
right.
That course.
Right.
Don't put that down, but doing it the first thing in the morning. And then I know that you said, is it BS? Again, I think for anybody and everybody that's on here today, we're going to give you insight on what we do. John's going to give you some insight on the factual stuff, which HRT can do and help.
Yep.
Again, if you try it and you like it, it don't matter what anybody says. It doesn't matter what a study is. And I think that's the point that I made in my last week's YouTube on the Generation Iron show. I said, studies are great. It doesn't matter what a study says.
Yep.
If you're going to train, you're going to train the way you want to train, and that's going to keep you consistent for a lifetime. So if it's not the rep range that they say scientifically proven, it doesn't matter.
Right.
So,
yeah, I talked to somebody yesterday. I was in the gym, and it's a former patient of ours, and she caught cancer once. She beat it, and she was telling us yesterday she caught the cancer again. So she caught the cancer again. She obviously couldn't. She had to stop all her meds. She gained a lot of weight. She was really depressed. She told me, she said, the one thing that saved me was cold plunges. She goes, I didn't believe it because she was telling me how good they were and I need to start them and everything. I said, so I was like, what would you do? She's like, every day, 5 days a week, I go over and I do a cold plunge. And I sit in there for 3 minutes. I'm like, all right. She said, after a week of that, John, because I was seriously depressed about this cancer coming back. She said, I'm a whole new person. She's like, I am not depressed anymore. She's like, cold plunge every day now. She's like, I feel like on top of the world. She's like, I know I have this problem still I'm dealing with, but she's like, I'm good. I'm like really good now. I'm like, man, keep doing that shit. I'm like, whatever is, especially cancer, man. Like, every week, like I go in there, like I'm in the cancer center, and you're sitting around all the other cancer patients, and it's I don't know,
But
It's not
listen
the
to her head, what she said. After a week of it, I don't care if it's BS or not. She's freaking a different person. She's willing to be in the fight now
Yes.
instead of giving up. And that's one of the biggest things about cancer is like
Yes.
you get to a point where you go, are you going to keep fighting or are you going to give up now?
Yep. It's
So
true.
good for that person and great for her saying that. And I'm glad the guy asked a question about that. And I'm glad he asked it the way he did, saying,
Yeah.
is it real or is it BS?
Yeah.
Nothing's BS if you like it and you continuously do it. All this stuff
Yeah.
has
Yep.
a benefit.
Yep.
Even if it's just a mental benefit to you doing stuff and getting your ass going.
Right.
Go
If it helps, it helps.
That's what he's just saying. I don't know about. I take ice baths, and the only thing I know about them is they make me feel good.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
So
does-
I do red light sauna,
Yeah.
cold plunge. Love it. Makes me feel amazing. I don't know about anything else other than it makes me feel amazing. That's awesome.
I love saunas. I love my sauna and I love my red light therapy.
Yep.
Now the one thing the sauna does drain me because I'll do it 20 or 30 minutes and my body releases water so quickly.
Yep.
So that's the only thing because I'm dieting down, and that's the only thing I love it so much, but at the same time I should just use it for that dry out period and not all the time. So it's a give or take. But I love red light therapy and that stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking at buying a red light for the outside, like a 3 to 5 person or something like that, like a red light sauna to put outside. Yeah, I definitely,
yeah,
I'm gonna definitely get one for sure.
The one we have is great, but it's only like 2 guys my size.
Yeah, yeah.
And for you, I know that photo shoot. You got Jeff over there. You got 4 girls in the sauna with Jeff.
Yeah, we need a 5 person at least, man. It's got to be a party in there.
Unless they're small Filipino, Asian, then you can get.
I got them all shapes and sizes, Jeff.
What are your thoughts on fasting and autophagy? I don't know what that is, but I looked it up. And it's a cellular response to stress that can help repair cells and reduce damage or.
So it's a therapy, or what is it?
Saying when you fast, there's studies that say when you fast, it triggers
this happens
for your body's cells to kind of repair and remove damaged cells.
So there's some great things about fasting, and but what is the reason for it? If you're doing it for mental clarity, are you doing it because I know that the one thing it does is it does drop down your T levels.
right.
It does raise your HG or IGF for a period of time, for a moment, but then that drops back too.
Right.
I worry about fasting is if you're going to say, this is how I'm going to lose weight. How you lose weight is how you have to stay losing weight. And so I just worry that the concept is, hey, I'm going to stop eating to lose weight.
Right.
I don't like that idea.
Me neither. I don't like that either. I've done the fasting. I've done the 12. I know you've done fasting. I've done fasting.
But I do it, and just so you guys are hearing Johnny say that, I do it for the mental approach to see how I'm Irish, man. I love suffering. I love it. And so I will do that just to see how strong I can be without food and in that level, and see how well I can control myself.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. I don't do it for any other reason. So just be smart. Johnny, what else do you got with that?
I've never done the 12-hour fast. I've done I do like the 6 hour in the morning. I'll wake up, won't eat till maybe 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and then go from there to 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night, 6-7 hours at a time. But I've never done the straight 12 hours or days or anything like that. I don't think I could survive like that. And then obviously, listen, if you're not getting enough protein in, at that point you might start losing some muscle right along with losing the weight if you're not eating. So that's one thing that I always take in consideration. I'm like, man, I don't really want to get any smaller. I want to tighten up, obviously, but you want your body to start doing that. And we've talked about that before, where your body's working like it should with the food. And then the exercise comes into play and then helps out even more. So, at that point, I think that's where you really want to get at, manipulating the food. And if you got to fast a little bit, that's fine. But like Mike said, don't do it to lose weight. Because if you do it to lose weight, you're going to have to continue on that path. And you're not going to be able to fast forever. And at that point, you might gain back a lot more bad weight than you really wanted to, or even expected to.
Yeah, I agree with you. And again, like a lot of the questions today, just understand if you want to do it, do it.
Right.
If you like it, I'm happy for you. We're happy for you. But understand just the pros and cons to it. Um, and again, I hate for anybody to have to, like the Biggest Loser, how they just starved the person for 60 days and got in shape.
Yep. Yep.
Then they all got fat again.
Yep.
And even worse, because of the fact that they weren't in charge of the ship anymore, they changed how the body functioned.
Right.
And for everybody that's here, and this is one thing we'll talk about next week, is that when you are, and it was great research talking about how the body utilizes carbohydrates when you're young and you're in your teens. And I think everybody here remembers when you could eat pizza and ice cream and you'd be hyped and all that kind of stuff, and you burn it off in 2 seconds. And then as you age, the body kind of shuts down a bit slowly over periods of, through decades.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't respond to carbohydrates as well as it does when you're such a young pup. So just be smart about it. Get your tests, get your blood markers, find out where you're at, because we can push this stuff off for a long time. And hopefully I've pushed it off for a little bit more, but still I do the blood work because I need to understand, can I still diet like I did when I was in my 20s?
Right.
Can I still use carbohydrates like that? Does my body, not skip me, does my body use carbohydrates like that? And so those are the real key points. But like Johnny says, blood test, get it done. John, what do we got going on this week? Because I know that we have a peptide of the week. I don't want to get off without us telling everybody about it.
Yeah. So the therapy of the week this week is tirzepatide. It's a weight loss GLP-1 and GIP medication. This is going to be great for anybody that's really trying to lose a good amount of weight out there. It's been pretty safe. It has less nausea than semaglutide. It hits 2 points on the brain to help control hunger and regulate the body so you can lose weight instead of just one active ingredient that semaglutide has. So it's really been a great therapy across the board for a number of different patients. Guys, girls, it really doesn't matter who you are. This is really going to be a great one. If you're trying to lose 5 pounds, this is not the drug for you. If you're trying to lose, 15, 20, 30 plus, this is definitely going to be the way to go for sure. 100%.
So that's the peptide of the week, guys.
$25 off if you guys order this week.
And then also get your blood tests in. Again,
Sure.
What is the blood numbers? 200 for the females.
200 for the male, 225 for females and 150 for males with a discount.
Okay. And then is there anything that maybe they would want to do? Because I know that I did the amino acid. What would that be additional to this? Because I know there's some guys on here that want to try that one.
Sure. So if you want to do the Hercules, Hercules
the blood
Titan
work
Complete,
with the blood work with the additional amino acid lineup testing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So you're talking about if it was a guy, it would be $350. It's $200 extra. And that gives you a rundown of every amino acid in the body, non-essential and essential. So if you don't know the difference, essential means that you need to get it from an outside source. Non-essential means it's made and produced inside the body, so you don't have to look for it outside. So usually you have to supplement your amino acids from foods or other supplementation, whether it's oral supplementation, injectable, or IV. And at that point, with these, we really want to talk about how important amino acids are, because all peptides are sequence of amino acids, right? And they're the building blocks of protein. Everybody, building blocks of protein. So the more amino acids you have in your body, the more better off your body's going to be. And as you get older, you want to pick proteins that are higher in amino acids, usually is what they say. So us guys that are older, more lean steaks, because steaks has one of the best amino acid profiles that's out there. Chicken's one of the leanest as far as that goes for protein and all that, but not as much amino acids as steak. So for me, I like to mix in both. I have some lean protein, and then I'll have my steak, which has more amino acids and has maybe a little fat in there. but not too much. So, that's the way to go.
All right, guys, make that happen. Rock and roll on that stuff. Just so you guys know that that's what I do when I test. Because I was shocked the first time Johnny had me do that.
Yep.
Because I do take a lot of supplements. I love my aminos. I love my just glutamine. I could name.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And then I got the test back, and then I realized, even though I'm taking in a good portion for my body, I
Yep.
can actually take in a little bit more, which helps me go, oh,
Yep.
shnikes. So I can up my my glutamine. I can up my
Yep.
branch chains, my EAAs, and
Yep.
so and that's when I said, forget taking the powders. I'm going the injectable with the Hercules potion
Right.
and the EAA stack. So that's also
Perfect.
Titan Medical.
That's awesome. Yeah, good stuff, guys. I'm telling you, amino acid injectable therapies, they're game changers for sure. 1,000,000%. If you don't know what they are, call or text us. We'll be happy to fill you in. And I promise you will not be disappointed.
Thanks, Johnny.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, Mike. I'll talk to you later, brother. Bye, guys.